Hello, everyone. We are very happy to see you on our today's meetup. And just let's wait maybe 2 more minutes and then we'll continue with our presentation. So before starting, I want to introduce our speakers that we have today. So the first speaker today will be Iryna. And her case will be about establishing relationships with stakeholders that having no experience of working with BAs. And our today's speaker is Dmytro Lozovytskyi. His case will be about working with non-contactable stakeholders. Let's start with our presentation. As I see about 75 attendees, so I guess we can start, Ira.
Okay, thank you, Evgenia. Hello, everyone. I'm really happy that so many people joined our today's session. And that is explicable because building effective working relationships with stakeholders, that is what often hurts to a lot of business analysts. We'll with Dmytro try to share the best of our knowledge and experience today so that this meetup is helpful and is good for you, and you can apply something from what we will discuss today in your particular situations and in your particular cases. My topic will be related to how to establish relationships with stakeholders that have no previous experience working with business analysts. Before jumping to the very core of the presentation, I will make a very short self-introduction. Then I guide you through what will be and what will be not included in my today's presentation, so just you get what you expect of it today. Then we'll gradually move to the real life case context. I will tell you some things, the given part of what I faced with when I joined my project. Then move gradually and explain what steps I undertook, what actions I did in order to set up the relations with my stakeholders on the client side. And then share what progress was made thanks to those activities and to those actions. In the very end, I will focus on some core things, on the most important points which you need to bear in mind, which you need to consider when building relationships with the stakeholders. And then I hope we will save some time for your questions. If you have any, just don't wait, don't hesitate, ask them in the chat so that in the end we don't waste time and immediately jump and discuss the questions. Let's start now. My name is Iryna. I'm at EPAM on the role of the business analyst for 4 years already. And my total experience in software development is more than 8 years already. As a business analyst, I have participated in the projects for different customers based in the United States, in the European region. There was also a project for EPAM, a digital platform. These all were very different projects in various domains like gambling, like automotive, software development, and the setup of the teams was also different, starting from quite small project consisting of just one Scrum team of 10 people and up to quite large ones consisting of several streams, which were about 100 and more people. Now, just to manage expectations of my today's presentation. For sure, there is a lot of very nice theory on how to manage stakeholders, which you can find in different sources. I will not be focusing on theory today. Instead, I will try to share my own experience, what I faced with, what were the challenges, and what I did to build the relations with the stakeholders. For sure, there are a lot of various techniques and artifacts which you can use, which you can document when identifying and analyzing stakeholders. For sure, I did not use all of them when working on my particular case. I will be naming only those which I used and which helped me, but this doesn't mean there are no other techniques which you can use in similar cases. Also, often there are situations when you enter a project and your internal stakeholders, development teams, they have no experience working with a business analyst. That is also a challenge, but that is not what I will be focusing on today. Instead, I will be talking about what to do when external stakeholders, people on the client side, don't know what to expect of a business analyst and what this role is about. And the last thing I would like to, but I can't provide you with one-size-fits-all solution for any case. When you have stakeholders that don't know anything about the BA role. I will just share my personal experience, my real life case, which for sure can be applicable in other settings, in other situations, but wisely. Let's start, let's move to the meat of the presentation. And here I would like to share some points, the given situation I faced with when entering a new project. This was a project for a large, quite large company based in the United States. The domain was automotive. They do quite a lot of things in different spheres, in B2B, in B2C. They sell new cars, they participate in car auctions, and many, many more. And this client included several brands, and our project was for one of these brands. Apart from providing some services to their consumers, they also had an internal software development department. So they did development themselves, but in addition to that, their teams were reinforced with some additional ones belonging to different vendors, and EPAM was one of those vendors. As I said, they have been doing development of software products for years or even decades. The framework they were mostly following was Scrum. That was like a regular Scrum setup with the Scrum teams. And for each of the teams, they had a role of product owner, but there were no such a role as a business analyst. Probably, people there, they heard something of what this role is about, but they have not no dedicated role of a business analyst. And one more thing, surprisingly for me, EPAM BA role was presented to the client as a technical writer. I can understand the reasons why this was done so. Probably at the moment it was discussed with the client, it was found out that on the client side there is a role of product owner, there is a role of a technical writer, and people thought the activities the technical writers there do and perform, they have something in common of what business analyst usually does. So this was done this way. I couldn't change this setup in any way. This was what I got on my plate when I entered the project. Now I'm moving to the exact activities, exact actions which I did when working with my stakeholders. One remark here, you may notice that some of the activities, some of the actions, they are not something specific and different from what a BA does on any other project, even when the stakeholders have like quite a solid experience working with the business analyst. But I will try to emphasize some nuances for these actions, applicable and relevant for the situation when the stakeholders have no previous experience and don't know what to expect of a business analyst. First of all, self-introduction. When we had our first meeting with the client, we introduced ourselves. The first thing I did, I introduced myself as a business analyst, not as a technical writer, not as someone else. I introduced myself as a BA and explained what my regular tasks and responsibilities are, what I have been doing previously on some other projects, and what I can be helpful in. That is very important because this sets the expectations on the client side just right from the very beginning. Then, as a discovery phase, we had a short discovery phase. As it rolled out, my participation, at least I tried to make it very active and even proactive on this phase. For sure, on any other project, this is also very important that a business analyst is engaged into this phase because it, to a large extent, determines the success of the upcoming phases and of the project as a whole. Yeah. But when your stakeholders don't know what you will be doing and even why you are here, it is twice as important to be very engaged into this phase. Yeah. So what you need is to carefully prepare to all the meetings, be active during these meetings, ask questions, confirm your understanding. If you need some additional information, some additional sources for information to dive deeper into the context, into the enterprise, into the product which you will be building, please do that, yeah, and show why you are here and what you are interested in, what you will be doing. Talking about the artifacts, for sure, glossary to document, all the unknown terms. For sure, the vision and scope document, and also I used a risk registry because there were a lot of risks related to the relations with the stakeholders, to managing them on that project, and I used the registry to document all of them. All those risks which I identified at this very first stage. Then what I did to identify and analyze my stakeholders. For sure, this can be a stakeholder list and personas, or you can build a map of stakeholders. What came in extremely handy for me in this case was array matrix. I needed it to understand how it all works already on the client side, who is responsible for what, and what in the upcoming phases, what responsibilities I could take. Yeah. Be very careful about this stage and try to determine who your stakeholders are, what their level of interest is, their power on taking decisions on this project, and probably who your primary points of contact will be. Then the next thing which you actually might want to do is start taking more and more responsibilities for yourself, start taking actions, change something, introduce changes, but don't hurry up. the actual thing which you want to do here is first to define the as-is state for all the processes, how it all works on the client side, how people communicate with each other, what information and when they exchange, how they document business analysis information. And moving next, though we are focusing today on the external stakeholders, that is very important, and not to forget about your internal ones, because ultimately the consumers of a large extent of the business analysis information which you will be producing, the consumers of it will be your internal stakeholders, your development team. So don't forget to exchange information with them, to request feedback, because that is very, very important. The next thing was when I've determined who my primary points of contact on the client side are, is to held several sessions, several meetings where we clearly defined our responsibilities and who will be doing what. That is important, not to just assume who will be doing what, but meet, document, and agree on the way of working. And this step comes together with another one about proposing changes. For example, on my project, I noticed that for documenting user stories, there was a template on the client side already, which potentially could be reused. But I noticed that for different POs in different teams, it was different. People often were not following it, and sometimes user stories consisted just of several lines of text. What I wanted to do is to introduce a documentation template with a clear structure. I presented it to my product owner, explained what I want in the template and how this information could be helpful and why it is needed. Also, we added to the common refinement team with the client an internal one, where we met with no representatives from the client side, just internally with the EPAM development team, discussed all the aspects of requirements, asked questions, and what is important, we identify a list of questions which we later on refined with the client team. So it was quicker, the whole process was quicker, and we had no some vague discussions with the client. We only discussed some key aspects, some key points, and important questions. And since there were two of us already this or that way working with the requirements, a product owner on the client side and me, we needed an additional step of requirements reviews. We started from online sessions where we went through the requirements, and this way I obtained a sign-off from the client. Later on, we moved to an offline mode where I just shared what I prepared, and the product owner reviewed, asked questions, added comments, and provided me a sign-off. And the last thing, it is very important to document everything you decide on, all decisions, all the assumptions or limitations which you find out, who will be doing what in the RACI matrix. Please do that. Keep that documentation. It will save you a lot of nerves, and a lot of unnecessary clarifications later on. These were probably the core things I did, and now what it helped me to achieve and what it helped my team to achieve. As a whole, I would say that EPAM team got integrated into the client development environment, and I was in close collaboration with the client product team. For the first or for some time, that was a product owner on the client side who I was communicating mostly with. Later on, when there was a long-term off work time for my PO, and I was already performing the role of a PO, I was directly communicating with the client product manager. What I was responsible for, the key activities are maintaining the backlog, documenting the requirements and documenting all the business analysis information, and refining the requirements with the development team. Once I got a PO role already, not a BA one, yeah, but when my PO had a long-term like vacation, and I was already performing this role, I also got some new responsibilities, and one of them was to manage dependencies between my team and other teams on the client side to orchestrate the work between us. Now, some just key things for you maybe to take away from this presentation. What you need to do when you would like to build effective working relationships with your stakeholders. First of all, state your role clearly. Don't say that you are, I don't know, a technical writer or anyone else. Yeah, to set the expectations just right, explain who you are, what your responsibilities are, and how you can be helpful. Consider the context. For sure, what can be helpful and good in one situation would not be ideal in another one. Yeah, so mind the settings where you find yourself. Also, take the culture into consideration. For example, in my case, I worked for the US-based client. And if, for example, from the very beginning, I started to take more and more responsibilities of my PO, who was actually expected to do the requirements part of work for my team, it could look like I'm trying to shift this person, yeah? And this is something very sensitive in the United States. So please take that into account. The next thing, don't just sit and wait that your stakeholders will come to you and will bring some work to you. Yeah, be active, be proactive, do what you can, suggest improvements, prepare artifacts, share information. Yeah, ask if that is okay or not for your stakeholders. Ask for feedback. Also, don't try to change just everything off the cuff from the very beginning. First thing you need to do is to determine the current settings, the SEs, yeah, how the processes, communication work, yeah, how people document requirements, and only then, if needed, introduce changes. And when doing that, don't just say that you need to do this or that change. Present it carefully, advertise it to the client, explain why it is important, why it is beneficial. Yeah. And the last thing about communication. This is the last one, but it is not at all less important than the other ones. That is maybe one of the pillars which all the other things and points rest upon. If you just sit and work by yourself and do something by yourself, it won't work. You need to exchange information, to share information, to ask for feedback, and this way you raise the chances to build effective relationships with your stakeholders. I believe I'm done at this point. Thank you for listening this. Now, if there are questions, I'm ready to jump and answer them.
So right now we have several questions, and just from the very beginning, I just want to highlight that these both presentations will be recorded and they will be published. So don't worry about that. So, and if you have any questions related to downloading the presentations, So guys, please, if you have any problems with translation, just and stream, just please leave comments in our Q&A. Ира, ты видишь что-нибудь на правом экране? Okay. Okay, let's continue in this case.
Okay, so should I read the questions?
So I'll read them, but still, okay. So how to deal with the situation that you need to work as PO and BA at the same time?
You need to work as PO or with a PO and BA at the same time. That is important. Well, I believe first thing you need to do is, again, trying to understand the as-is setup. So if I understood the question correctly, yeah, and you have a PO and a business analyst maybe on the client side at the same time, try to understand how it works there at the moment, yeah, what these people do, what their responsibilities are, yeah, and trying to understand what you can do in this setup. I would say so.
Okay, let's move on. Thank you. A little question for Rasi. Did you share it with client? Did you have the case when separate epic had different stakeholders? I guess it's like next question, but still, how do you manage those epics in terms of Rasi matrix?
Okay, about the RACI matrix. Well, I was not sharing the document itself, the big document where I documented who does what. That was a bit different. It had a bit different look and feel. Yeah, like a presentation, which I shared with my client. We identified the main activities which need to be done. Yeah, and the main roles who are responsible for these activities. Yeah, and this way we identified who is responsible for what, when, and how. In the case when you have separate epics and you have different stakeholders for those epics, yeah, so you can try also to, well, determine for which topics or for which epics which stakeholders can be contacted, yeah, and this way try to manage the situation. I did not, in my particular case, I did not have such a situation when different stakeholders or different roles from the client side were responsible for different epics. Yeah, so maybe in my case it was a bit easier that this was like the constant setup. Yeah, all the same stakeholders for the entire backlog.
Okay, thank you. One more question. Please advise how do you define a risk element, and can you mention some of them that listed on the registry?
So first of all, risks can come not only from some things related to the relationships with your stakeholders. This can be absolutely different things. For example, some related to a particular epic or user story, something related to like acceptance by the end users and so on and so forth. Yeah, if we are talking about risks related to stakeholders in particular, what you can start with is try to find or try to ask a recommendation from other BAs or search for that in EPAM community KB as well, for some common risks, yeah, the source for which is the relationships with stakeholders. When you are in the discovery phase, you will be well, getting to know your stakeholders. You will be getting to know the setup, and you will understand which of these risks is relevant for you or might be relevant for you. You will identify something new, and this way you can document, add them to the registry, and decide on their impact, on their priority, and what you can do with them and how. To provide you just some examples from my list. For example, since the stakeholders don't know what to expect of me, they haven't worked with a BA previously, they might be reluctant to share some information with me on the business requirements or just some other information related to the business, or they may be not contactable, but I will not talk more about this, because this is a topic of which Dmytro will share later on about not contactable stakeholders. So these are just some examples.
Thanks. We have too many questions, but still we have no time for just continue our Q&A. I just want to ask the last one, and then Ira, you'll continue answering in our Q&A chat. Okay. So the last question is, what do you find hardest, to work with stakeholders who already worked with BA, or to be the first BA on the project?
The hardest, that is a good question. I believe that both situations are quite challengeable, and that would depend on the situation. For example, you can find yourself in any of these, but depending on how your stakeholders respond to what you do, when you try to build relations with them, when you try to set up something on this project, it will turn absolutely different. For example, if the stakeholders are reluctant to communicate with you, that is one case. If they have no experience working with a business analyst, but they are quite open and they hear you, they want to collaborate with you, that is an absolutely different case. That is about working with stakeholders who have never worked with a BA. Being first BA on the project, that is interesting, because you have like a blank page, and you need to set up everything anew, all the processes, all the documentation. So it depends, and it depends on the person as well. What you find for yourself the hardest. For me, it's difficult to say like black or white. Both situations are challengeable, and it depends on the exact setup.
Okay, thank you, Ira. And let's continue with Dmytro and his presentation. So, hi, Dmytro. You're muted.
Yes, sorry. Hello, colleagues. Thank you very much, Iryna, for such valuable talk. So let's continue our meeting, our case study workshop today with the next theme: how to start work efficiently with non-contactable stakeholders. Why I choose this theme? Because a couple of reasons. First of all, this situation is really common at different kind of IT projects. So everyone can face with such type of stakeholders. This is the first reason. The second reason is that this story is about your ability to be flexible and to be adaptable and to win. I mean, first of all, to build an efficient relationships, with such kind of stakeholders. So this is your maturity growing down. So I think that this theme could be potentially valuable for everyone. And let's start, I think, our talk. So a couple of words about me. I joined EPAM company in 2019, so participated in a lot of EPAM programs, events, and conferences as a co-driver, organizer, speaker, moderator, etc. In my past experience, I had different kind of roles: PM role, BA role, PO, product manager role, business consultant role, etc. So my overall experience in big IT area, 8+ years. So also I have a hobby. I am a professional article writer in IT on DOSOurce and on our internal EPAM portal, etc. So I hope, guys, that my experience will be useful for you. So the main idea, the main idea is clear for us. Yep, and the main agenda for today's talk is the next. First of all, what we should know about our case, case contact description. The second point is about real problem statement identification and solution creation. As usually on my talks, I want to propose to your attention some kind of approach, real approach that works on practice and was appropriate on practice not only once or 2 times, etc. And also we're going to make some conclusions about this solution approach, and of course you will have time to ask your questions. I want to mention or highlight, that you can do that in chat during our conversation, during my speech, and don't waste the time. If you have a good question, please highlight this question in chat. So let's go. I think that everyone knows about very famous serials or movie, House of Cards. So in one of episodes in that movie, we always can hear some kind of interesting phrase about reality, and this phrase is some kind of point of view on reality that could be useful for us. So what is that? Reality always contains the illusion component, always. Probably the things are not the same as it looks. So watch attentively. This is key phrase. Please remember this phrase, and let's start review our context. So I'm participating in big and challengeable enterprise level project in EPAM. So on EPAM site, and my current role is Chief Business Analyst / PO. I should cooperate with technical product manager on client side, and this guy has always a couple of commands for me, especially at the start of our work. So, oh no, I have no time for that. This is extremely a popular phrase on his side. It was extremely popular phrase on his side. And the second one, if I have no time for that, I won't do that. Please do that for me. This was the second phrase. A little bit more details about the past of this guy. He was in his past. He was a good marketing specialist on the contractor side that our client cooperate with. So that's why this guy just came from this third-party vendor side to our client side at work, and started his career there. The main trouble was the next, that this guy he is a really good specialist in marketing and business needs understanding, business needs clients of his client, but he never faced with software development process. And that's why he had a lot of troubles. with knowledge base and also with experience. So that's why this case appeared in our common practice. And this case context we can shortly define as time and will, lack of time and will on product manager side. This is a background, this is a general context. Of course, such situation shouldn't be continue at all, at the project, and that's why from our managers I got some requests to stop this situation somehow and transform the behavior of this guy, because this guy couldn't be changed at all at the project. Yep. So our client bought that specialist, and our client, business representatives of our client, they don't want to change this guy, but they could in reality. Yeah. So this is a general background, and you can understand that such kind of product manager, technical product manager behavior just burned a lot of troubles, a lot of issues in our cooperation process from the scratch. So somehow I should manage them, and what I did. First of all, my first advice to you guys, what you should do if you're faced with non-contactable or difficult stakeholders, yeah? Because this is our personal estimation, or maybe it could be common team estimation, difficult or non-contactable, etc. So first, my first advice, in the left part of the screen, for any work case, don't panic. And the second advice, no drama at all. Yeah, you should make your you should in your consciousness, you should realize such class of cases just as a funny tasks for you. Funny tasks, challengeable but funny. Why? Because you will have a lot of communication forward. So when I started, what I can advise to you when you are in such trouble situation? First of all, start investigate the reasons why this partner at the work, stakeholder, just provide such class of behavior. Yeah, this is the first my advice to you guys. So the results of my investigation just placed in the left part of this screen. As you can see, we have a different reasons. First of all, dependencies on business decisions makers. Yeah, our stakeholder, product manager, he has a high level of managerial role in our project, but at the same time he was really dependent on the business decision makers on client side, yeah, highest managers, etc. And these guys are not so fast as we want. So that's why we had the case very often case with decision making just postpone with the decision making postponing, yeah, in our project. And this was a very bad case for our team, because in that case we just could ruin or just could impact our pace of work, team pace of work. And this also, as conclusions, will have some kind of lack of commitments, just break of commitments, general, etc., etc., etc. It's a project, yeah, as a conclusions. The second reason is the next, that not enough product manager role experience at all. He never was in that role. So you can imagine the stress for this person when he came to this project, and a lot of people want something from him. Yeah. The third one is lack of real knowledge. Naturally. And the real knowledge about software development and real knowledge about product management from software development point of view. Yeah. Also, I want to highlight not rational workload. Yeah, he has very bad organizational habits at the same time. Real working hours difference, yeah, because we have a different time zones behind Ukraine and USA, United Kingdom, Canada region, etc. So narrow cooperation bridge. Not optimal channels of communication. This guy has a real life habit. For example, use only MS Team chat, or he doesn't want to reply in other communication channels because he has no habit to manage this. Yeah, to manage his communication process in such manner. Yeah, in efficient manner. So not optimal channels of communication for different classes of cases or questions, working questions, etc., work questions, etc. With previous product manager, we have very strict and very simple workflow, and with that product manager, from the moment of his work start, yeah, we got a lot of gaps. Yeah, in our existing workflow. So our existing workflow need to be updated, yeah, or need to be corrected. Delays with decision making, yeah. So of course, on his side, when he doesn't know something, he never realizes that behind other people. He just close up and going to have some and going away to have some delays, to how to say, to take more time for his internal decision making. It also was a bad habit. Constant changes in agreements. It was our reality, yeah, and painful reporting because of a lot of changes, yeah, a lot of lags. Our reports, making our reports was making the process of our reports making was painful, yeah. So this was reality. How I got these reasons, from where I got these reasons, understanding, yeah. First of all, I want to propose to your attention my approach. Seems like a pyramid of managerial excellence, etc. So we're going to review it, but you can imagine in the right corner of this slide, my reaction. Oh my God, when I analyzed all such things, when I see all these reasons, I understood that I need to do something with that. So I created some kind of simple example what we're going to do with our client. I just created some kind of this problem statement identification basis and solution, yeah, pyramid. And as you can see, guys, I divided all stuff related to the issues mentioned on previous slide. I just divided into proposed groups. So, and these groups allows me to apply the correct tools, approaches, activities, techniques in the right part of the screen to resolve such kind of situation. Yeah. So what kind of groups I want to highlight to you? This is the focus of your attention in the process of cooperation with every stakeholders that you have, every type of stakeholder that you have on the project. Yeah. First step is observing and gap identification. Simple step. Everything in this pyramid started from that step. If you want to make some conclusions, write conclusions, please observe and identify the gaps. In that case, I use a couple of things, yeah? So days, events, chronometry, just making some notes about events continuation, goals of these events, etc., etc., etc. Documentation of facts, yeah, when we have something wrong. Case library forming and classification, project statistic base. So first of all, I tried to observe our cooperation process, especially behavior of my stakeholder, and transform this behavior into cases for the next work. So this is the first step. The second step is root cause analysis, of course. Just general cycle of analysis, nothing special for business analysts. You and me, you guys and me, yeah. But for our stakeholders, it was some kind of very interesting point, yeah, because he never analyzed before. He never made some deep dive analysis of his behavior before this cooperation with me. So that's why I propose to use 5 why technique and started his behavior investigation, yeah. Decisions, reasons, understanding, and case study and knowledge transfer session as well. So I started educated the stakeholder, but step by step in a very polite, proactive, empathies and interactive manner, yeah. The next step was time planning, yeah. When I see the good reaction, good feedback reaction from his side, he understands that I'm not blaming him, I just help him, support him to make our cooperation more efficient, and we are one team, because if we going to achieve our project goals, everyone will be happy. He will got his personal goals, I will get to my personal goals, to our team goals, to our project goals, etc. Everyone will be happy. So he understood that, and we switched to time planning block. Yeah, so we make a common schedule. We shared our schedule with each other and needed colleagues. On team level, on managerial level, etc. We optimized meetings. Yeah, why? Because he had very bad habit to plan the meetings in chaotic manner. Yeah, and we just clean up the schedule, just structurized meetings, and going forward. So working hours clarification, yeah, of course, we made some agreement with simple table with our working hours of our team members when we have this time breach, and it was my duty to support this breach efficiency, yeah, especially during these breach hours, time breach hours, yeah. Organized reporting was the next step, because when we were good with our time planning in general, situation was much better. We were ready to make the next step, yeah. And next step was organization of reporting, yeah. That's why we revise all reports. And I do that before my communication with that guy, and I defined report goals, types, and just purposes, yeah. Main work KPIs were discussed and identified. KPIs of our interaction. This is a separate theme, yeah. But we just conducted a couple of KPIs, yeah, for that we can use to estimate our efficiency cooperation, yeah. Report unification. We provided report unification as well, because he want to have very common information or similar information in different reports, in different part of that reports, etc. The same information. So we unified these reports and we clean up these reports as well. The next step was suitable workload planning. Yep. And it means that we need to analyze all tasks in our backlog, yeah, in backlog of our cooperation, I can say in such manner. We structurized the tasks, optimize them, sharing roles capacity analysis provided also as well, and quarter planning. Why? Because we need to understand what kind of volume of work we could perform together. Yeah. So these simple techniques allows to you in practice to do such things. And the highest point of that efficiency pyramid is efficient communication. Yeah, what does it mean? First of all, optimal communication channels usage. Yeah, identification and usage, escalation, agreement creation, a very obligatory thing, and I highly advise you guys to use such kind of agreement at your projects. Why? Because you should have some kind of buffer, communication buffer in situations where you are blocked for some reasons. So also we're going to classify some kind of messages. We prioritize messages by types. This is urgent messages with some kind of labels, etc., or just highlights, etc., 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 that format. This is regular messages. This is messages about strategic tasks, etc., etc., etc. So we clean up our communication process. Step by step, we going forward together, and our cooperation started to be better and better. So seems like this is a simple steps that you can use in your practice from the scratch, think about as a model, yeah, and apply this model with needed changes to your project specific. What was the real problem statement after everything were fixed? Yeah. I realized a couple of things. First of all, he has a really big fear to look like unprofessional on at this project because he had a lack of knowledge, experience, etc. Yeah, lack of knowledge. He wants always to hide his lack of knowledge with a huge amount of delegation, yeah, of his tasks to me, to my side, to team side, etc. So it was also one of the reasons. And he really fear about lose of the control, yeah. And these were three fear factors that I identified in his behavior, and step by step, precisely apply needed practice to just to resolve, just to how to say, just to make these fear factors absolute. Yeah. Short conclusions from that case. First of all, guys, eat well bit by bit. Yeah. So please don't try to make everything at one moment. Yeah. Analysis, structure. Please analyze everything, structurize everything, and step by step go and make the plan what you're going to do. Yeah. The second conclusion is facts only facts are the basis of decisions, not assumptions, because unconfirmed assumption on your side is potential or real risk. Always remember that. Real motives are hidden reasons. Yeah. So this is also a very interesting point from my side. Because you need to deep dive in the reasons, and you have a key in your head, in your arms, yeah, in your hands, because you, with observation, with analysis, you're going to understand the real motives of people, and if you understand the real motives, you can identify the real reason or real need, yeah, and work with that. Very efficiently. The last two conclusions is they are next. Yeah. So use the common sense rule and build your own common vision, not your personal vision only, but your own common vision with a common sense. Please apply all practice, all techniques, all approaches, all activities with a common sense. Sharply defined up to your project or specific or situation specific. Yeah. And the last one, there are not bad people. We can have a bad conversation. This is ancient I really like to say that, because in reality, in practice, we always have that. Yeah, there are no bad people. We can have a bad conversation about something, so please don't forget about. And if you have some fails in your conversation with your stakeholders or in cooperation with your stakeholders, just try to do that again from the scratch, from the blank page. So I hope that my case was helpful for you, and now we have a time to Q&A. Thank you.
Unfortunately, we have no time for Q&A. Yes, just 1 minute only, so we can just go through only one question. But still, guys, if you have question related to Dmytro's presentation, just please leave them in via community. I sent you a link in our chat, and let's answer one question, and after that we can just stop our presentation. So if there is little time to solve one or another task, and there is no time to study why the key stakeholder doesn't make contact, what shall be done in this case?
In my case, I'm always trying to support stakeholders from my side, with highlighting that I'm doing that for our common success. Very simple answer.
Yeah, thanks. So in this case, maybe let's look to another one. Client gives a list of stakeholders. Will there also be an expectation for BA to fill any gap against the client-defined role, or add this list if required? How to make sure I'm reaching out to a good stakeholder?
We have a simple BA techniques for that, yeah. And the first one is building the metrics of stakeholders, impact and influence, yeah. The impact and this our common metrics. Oh my god. Impact and importance of stakeholders on the project, yeah. Influence, impact could be also as a characteristics that you're going to use to build the simple metrics to make 4 quadrants with different type of stakeholders regarding to the impact or real influence at the project, yeah. So simple techniques, you start to do that. And my also one more advice, try to build the tree of stakeholders tree. Try to draw this tree. Who reports for whom? Try to clarify everything with client organizational structure. Yeah, and you will find in that artifacts a lot of important information for your future stakeholders communication.
Thank you. Thank you, Dmytro and Iryna, for your presentations. Happy guys for just joining us today. And the recording, once again, will be sent to you, and it will be published in our channel. Thank you. Happy Friday and happy weekends.
Happy Friday.
Bye-bye.
Guys, happy weekends. Bye.